I'm going to be showing you how to do quite an advanced technique. If you've been following this series over the week, we've been talking about how to develop custom GPTs. A custom GPT is a version of ChatGPT which is trained to your particular data, trained to your particular instructions, and it does exactly what you need it to do. We can use custom GPTs to act as employees or freelancers within our business, which is really powerful because we can make them better and better the more we use them. What I want to show you today is a very advanced technique, which is going to be using one custom GPT to train another custom GPT. So we're actually going to create this cycle of training where it's not reliant on us, the human, to do all the training, but instead we're going to be using an AI train an AI. I want to show you this on the video because it's a little bit complex and I just need to show you all the different steps. But once you know how to do this, you'll be able to train any of your GPTs using another AI. So you can see in front of me right now, we've got the newsletter. What we're going to be focusing on in this particular example and in the newsletter is let me remind myself, it's a business coach GPT. And in particular in the newsletter, I focused on a guy called Seth Goden. He wrote books like The Linchpin, Purple Cow, and wow, loads of other ones that I'm totally forgetting the names of. He's a kind of a marketing guru, but in a good way. And he's well worth checking out if you don't know him. His blog, I think he blogs every single day and he's been doing it for decades. And it's really like top-notch quality stuff. So definitely check out Seth Godin. What I'm going to be showing you though is how I built a business coach GPT using Seth Godin's work. And then I went a step further because I wanted my GPT to sound like Seth Godin. So to do that, I'm going to be training it on the kind of the use of language, the metaphors he uses, the kind of general tonality, which is quite hard to do if you're doing this manually, which is why I'm going to use a second custom GPT to step in and to train the first GPT. This is going to become clearer the more I show you. So if you look in the newsletter, we start off by building our first GPT. I'm going to call it the Business Coach GPT or the Seth Godin GPT or just the first GPT or first custom GPT. Try and stay with me here because it does get a little confusing. You can see if I put it up here, this is a Seth Godin GPT that I've created. The main thing that you need to do is bring in PDF files or text files that have the information from the particular business coach or the particular business guru that you want to emulate. So can you see here I brought in a handful of PDFs, so Linchpin, Purple Cow, This is Marketing, and The Dip. These are 4 of Seth Godin's books. I own them all. In fact, they're on a bookshelf up here, but these are the PDF copies as well. So that I can train my GPT. And then I use all of the instructions that I've got here. And as with any custom GPT, if you've been following this week, you know that a GPT, ChatGPT is going to ask you a series of questions. Just go through and answer all those questions. Just get them all out of the way. It's going to want to create a logo for you. It's going to want to name your GPT. Absolutely fine. Let it do its thing. But the main thing is we're going to be using this set of instructions to set the basis of our custom GPT. So I've already done that in this example, and I've uploaded 4 different PDF files, and it means that I have this preview version on the right, which is my Seth Godin GPT. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it some business question, like I'm struggling to generate new leads. Boom. This has already been set up, so it's going to start giving me advice. Just give it a minute. And then what I'm going to be doing next is showing you how I'm going to use the output from this first GPT, my business coach GPT, as training data moving into the second GPT. So here we go. Generating new ideas can indeed be challenging. It's a crucial aspect of growing a business. Based on Seth Godin's principles, here are some strategies. Okay, that's fine. So it started to tell me about some of Seth Godin's ideas from these different books, so Purple Cow, from The Dip, from Linchpin, etc. See and be seen, build indispensability, create a tribe. If you follow my work, you know I use the word tribe quite a lot in our Baton business audience tribe offer network framework. So it's just going to go on and on like this. That's actually enough, so I'm going to pause it. What I want to train this GPT to do is to sound more like Seth Godin. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy all of this the advice it's given me. I'll do up to there, so the first 5, and take them over to the second GPT, which I built in the newsletter, and hit this button. So ask me for the text of a language comparison. There we go. Don't know why it's going slowly. Today is ChatGPT's first birthday. It's the 30th of November, so ChatGPT has been out for exactly 1 year of public release. So maybe there's a bit of slowdown there because people are celebrating the birthday. So here we go. It's saying, please provide me with the text. So I'm going to paste in the text that my first custom GPT created. Gosh, it is going slowly. Okay, I'm going to paste it in. And what this second GPT is going to do is I've pre-trained it on Seth Goden's work. It's going to compare the snippet of text I've just done with Seth Goden's corpus of work, so books. Here we go. So blah, blah, blah. Your text already captures several aspects of writing style, particularly its clarity, focus, and innovative marketing concept, blah, blah, blah. So number 1, narrative and storytelling. Godin often uses stories and anecdotes to illustrate his points, incorporate brief, engaging stories to exemplify her key messages. Conversational tone, vivid, memorable examples, bold assertions and provocations, use of questions. Great. So what this is doing is it's looking at the output of my first GPT, which is here, highlighted here. It's looking at that and comparing it to Seth Godin's actual work, which I've built into my second GPT, and it's giving me information and feedback on how I can make the output of my first GPT sound more like Seth Godin. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to grab all of this. So I'll just get the first 5 for now. So narrative and storytelling, conversational tone. I'm going to go back to my first GPT, and I'm going to tell it in the GPT builder. This is where I give advice and I refine my model. I'm going to say, here are some suggestions to refine the tone of the output, and then paste them in. So what have I done here? I know it seems a bit fiddly, but what I've done is I've used the output of my first GPT as the input of my second GPT. And then my second GPT has given me an output saying, hey, these are the ways that you can refine the writing so that it sounds more like Seth Godin. I then take those instructions from my second GPT back to my first GPT and feed it in as training information. So can you see now my first GPT, the business coach GPT, is now updating. It's going to take all of that advice that the second tone of voice GPT gave it, and it's going to use that to refine the model. So next time that I use the first GPT, my business coach GPT, it's going to sound more and more like Seth Godin. It's going to learn to use bold assertions and provocations. It's going to learn to use questions, to give vivid, memorable examples, etc., etc. Now you can do this with any GPT, any custom GPT that you're creating. This is just one example. But the idea here is, instead of me going through this output and manually having to think, okay, these are the ways that you can improve, I'm instead going to a second GPT and asking how I can improve my first one. It's quite meta, but this is a more advanced way of training a GPT. If you've been following the newsletter series over this week, we have gone step by step through how to create more and more complex GPTs. So we started with a very basic one where we just gave it some instructions. We then moved on to ones where we gave it training data. And then we had one which used a web search, for example, and incorporated that in for research. And now we're showing you how to use a GPT or an AI to train another AI. And the more I do this, the more I do this loop of training, going back and forward, the better my model is going to become. If you are a premium member, you have access to all of this. You'll be able to see the GPTs. You can play around with them yourself. If you are in the Business Academy, then I've linked them there, as well as you have the opportunity to send me copies of your GPTs, the ones that you're creating, whether it's this one or any other ones, and I'll give feedback and help you to refine those models, myself and the other people in the community. So I hope that's a useful resource for you. Okay, what else? that is it, I think, for now. It's been quite a good series on creating custom GPTs. Obviously, this is it's early days for custom GPTs. There is going to be a marketplace, and OpenAI have said there's going to be revenue sharing. So there'll be the opportunity to create a GPT, charge money for it, and then get a percentage of the revenue from it. If it's anything like the Apple Store or Steam or any other digital marketplace, you'll probably get to keep 70% of the revenue and 30% will go to OpenAI. We don't know the details, or at least last time I checked, we don't know the details. But right now, if you're learning how to create custom GPTs, you can, one, deploy them in your own business so they become part of your workforce, they become like another team member, and two, when the marketplace is launched, you're going to be ahead of the game. You're going to know how to create custom GPTs, deploy them, and then be able to generate revenue from them. So custom GPTs have been out for 2 weeks, maybe three, not very long. It's been a busy few weeks. So this is, if you're focusing on anything right now in AI, this is where you should be focusing. You should be playing around with this interface here. So you have the builder on the left and the preview on the right. You need to become really engaged with this. You need to knock it out of the park. Again, if you're in the community, make sure you're sending me the examples that you've created of your projects. I've already been providing feedback there, but together we're going to make these models better and better, and we're going to be ready for when the revenue sharing store is out. Okay, so that's it for today. I will see you in the next newsletter issue.